not seem to care about the alien disclosure? And why specifically are so many people saying that they don't have the energy to care about the existence of aliens because they're struggling to pay their bills, eat, and survive? I'm saying now, and I'll reiterate, I empathize with those that are living in survival mode. I understand the people who don't have the emotional and mental bandwidth to fight and scrape every day to keep themselves alive. I fully understand the effects of poverty. I've been poor my entire life. But I also have had a lifelong fascination with aliens, or as David Grush refers to them as, non-human biologics. I'm not going to do a deep dive on the UAPs and David Grush right now, because what I find much more troublesome than the fact that we're not alone in the universe is that people are in so much despair that they don't have the energy or the curiosity to look up into the sky and wonder what's up there anymore. We're living in such a perpetual state of survival mode that we're having trouble imagining anything beyond having our basic needs met. It's becoming more and more difficult for people to even meet the two first rungs on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It might be somewhat foolish of me to try and convince people to care about aliens when people don't even have the time or energy to care for themselves. But I'm going to tell you why I think people don't care about the aliens and why I think that they should. In an article from NPR by Laura Starczewski called "This Is Your Stressed Out Brain on Scarcity," a psychologist from Princeton called Elder Shafir said, "When you're very lonely, or when you're hungry, or when you're poor, a large portion of the day is spent entertaining thoughts related to the source of your scarcity. If you're lonely, you spend a big part of your day worrying about how to make social connections, which is actually distracting you from other things. And when you're poor, you worry about money, constantly." Shafir continues, "When so many moments of the day require your full attention, there's very little of it left to worry about things that are not right in front of your eyes." The article goes on to say that Shafir calls this concept bandwidth poverty, which I think can explain some of what's going on with the aliens. Bandwidth poverty reminds me a lot of spoon theory. When you use all your bandwidth, or spoons, working for meager wages that don't keep up with inflation, or you have to decide whether or not you're going to pay for your groceries or your medication that day, your bandwidth, or spoons, run out, leaving you with no mental bandwidth for other tasks such as researching aliens and UAPs. Is exhaustion from living under capitalism and its associated bandwidth poverty the only reason people don't seem interested in the UAP UFO disclosure? I hypothesize not. I believe that part of the reason that people don't care about the aliens and their implications is that figuring out the answer to the alien question is going to be extremely difficult mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and a lot of people are not prepared to do that right now. After everything that happened with the pandemic, with the economy in the shitter, and mental illness at an all-time high, people are preoccupied with other things. The alien disclosure is going to fundamentally change the way we see the world, our universe, and our place in it. Humanity's collective lack of bandwidth to learn new things plays a part in why we don't care about the aliens, but I think that our fear of change and lack of curiosity is also driving the apathy towards the alien question. In an article by Dr. Diane Hamilton entitled "4 Factors That Diminish Human Curiosity," Hamilton creates an acronym that explains 4 factors outside of things such as health and physical needs that impact people's ability or motivation to be curious. The acronym is FATE. F stands for fear, A stands for assumptions, T stands for technology, and E stands for environment. I think that the FATE acronym helps explain factors that contribute to people lacking curiosity about aliens beyond just bandwidth poverty and lack of spoons. F for fear, Hamilton says, is the predominant factor that influences people's curiosity. Aliens are really fucking scary, or non-human biologics, or whatever they are. Knowing about the existence of aircraft that break the laws of physics and make seasoned veterans have existential crises is terrifying to contemplate, so it's easier to just not contemplate it. What do the aliens want? What are they doing here? How will they impact our lives and our safety? What the hell is our government doing to them, and why? Sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I understand that some people do not have the capacity right now, or maybe ever, to overlook their fear of the unknown and ask these questions. For me personally, I feel empowered by knowing, even if it's scary. Knowledge helps me reassess and grapple with big issues. To me, not knowing is torture, even if knowing makes me sleep with the lights on. The next letter in FATE is A for assumptions, and you know what they say about assumptions. Hamilton also refers to assumptions as the way things have always been. It's not hard to see how learning about aliens and UAPs will vastly change the way things have always been, and change the trajectory of where we as a planet and species may be going. We want to hold on to the familiar, the tangible, and the certain. The concept of aliens throws all of our assumptions we've come to rely on out the window, so I can see why it's easier to not wonder about them. The next letter is T for technology. In Hamilton's article, Four Factors That Diminish Human Curiosity, she says that if people have to learn a new technology to answer a question, then that technology can be a deterrent to curiosity. When it comes to the UAP UFO question, to understand even some of the most basic discourse, like following what is said in the House Oversight and Accountability Subcommittee hearing, you have to understand how the government works or doesn't work. Learn basics about radar, flight, and physics. To fully grasp why UAPs are so incredible, you have to first understand how their movements and speeds are not only impossible for our technology to replicate, but how they sometimes break our known laws of physics. Learning about these concepts is exhausting, time-consuming, and no one cares, so you will not be rewarded for knowing these things. Having to learn these scientific and technological concepts are barriers to curiosity and to the ability to ask the alien question. The final letter in Hamilton's FATE acronym is E for environment, which Hamilton uses to refer to as the people in the society around you. The attitudes and beliefs of your family, friends, coworkers, and your peers can stifle your curiosity. No one around you cares about the aliens, or they think that the subject is stupid, or that they think that the people who take the aliens seriously are nuts. You're most likely not going to expand your knowledge about them. I don't need to say that the subject of UFOs and aliens has always been looked down upon and scorned. One congressional hearing and a Newsweek report isn't going to change people's attitudes about that overnight. So I've told you why I think people are apathetic towards the idea of aliens. I believe most of it has to do with burnout from capitalism and bandwidth poverty, and that some of it comes down to a lack of curiosity. You may be saying, yeah, perhaps, but I still don't care. Here's why I think you should care. The aliens can bring us a sense of hope. If they wanted to end us, they probably would have. From reading about them my entire life, in my opinion, it seems to me that they don't like nuclear weapons. It seems like they also like to fuck with the US military. For those two reasons alone, they seem pretty cool to me, and like they're the type of people, or non-human biologics, that would be good to get to know more about. Another reason that I think you should care is that this disclosure is likely going to illuminate a lot of government budget illegalities and irregularities. Maybe, somehow, during all of this, they'll find the money to fund universal health care. Who knows? Another reason that I think people should care is that we may be looking at the largest cover-up in all of human history. David Grush said he believed the U.S. government has known about non-human UAP activity since at least the 1930s. Even if we take the aliens and UFOs out of it, such a massive cover-up says a lot about our government and what it's willing to do to keep information from its people. I think one of the best ways we can combat the silencing of information is to seek out that information and not stay silent. This has been happening on our soil, in our airspace, and we as the people who live here have a right to know about it. The less that people care, the more the government can continue to get away with. Maybe the government is lying about aliens. It's okay to be a skeptic. Actually, skepticism is healthy. But please try to allow your mind to wonder. Consider keeping up with the UAP news. You don't have to believe in aliens, but for the love of this world and this universe, and for your own intellectual curiosity, please believe in something.